Welcome everybody. Happy New Year. We're starting off the new year with a bang. We are kicking off HerVersations again for the year, although we're rounding up the 2022 edition, but so happy to have you all here. Welcome. We have our speakers here, but just a brief introduction while more people join in. My name is Mary Edoro. I'm head of content for BellaNaija Style, and I have also been the host for HerVersations all through 2022. So HerVersations basically is a series developed by WRTHY and BellaNaija Style, which focuses on women's empowerment, women's economic empowerment, as well as gender-related issues. So today we're going to be discussing accessing finance and more investment opportunities for women in 2023. So it's a new year and we're very happy to delve into topics such as finance, investments, land, and all of these very juicy money related issues. So, yes, our guests are here, Nkem as well as Oluwatomi. I've sent you both requests, so please feel free to join me up on the stage and we can start. We did all through 2022 start having conversations every Wednesday from I believe was September, then November to December. So it has really been an awesome run. We're so happy to have made it so far. So yeah, welcome Oluwatomi. Good evening. I hope your day is going great. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I was asking if your day is going great. How are you today? Uh-oh, I think there might be a network glitch. Okay, cool. Can you hear me, Oluwatomi?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Okay, perfect. So we have our both speakers on stage, and as always, these sessions are very interactive. So if you have anything to add to the conversation to our wonderful audience who have taken their time out to tune in, if you have anything to join to add to the conversation, please feel free to request to speak, and I'll add you up on stage. Okay, so like I mentioned, today we're discussing accessing finance and more investment options in 2023. We have two awesome speakers, Oluwatomi Eronmosele, who is a development economist with over 10 years research and consulting experience in economic development, financial inclusion, and employment creation. Very wonderful to have you here, Oluwatomi, as well as Nkem Okocha. So Nkem is the founder of Mama Money, Nigeria's pioneer micro-lending fintech for low-income female entrepreneurs. Very happy to have you both here. Maybe we'll start with you, Oluwatomi. Tell us about your journey so far and what you currently do.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear
Yes, I
me?
can hear you. Okay. I think we have some connection issues. So maybe we'll go to you, Nkem. Good evening, Nkem.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but it's breaking, so we can't really hear you. Maybe you can leave and then join in again.
Okay, that's
Okay, or
fine.
are you able to hear now?
I can hear you if you can
Okay, I
hear
can
me.
hear you now. Perfect. So maybe we proceed. I don't know if you heard my question.
Yes, you were asking about my journey so
Yes,
far.
yes, and what you do.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I am Oluwatomi. I work in financial inclusion. I currently have over 10 years experience in research and consulting in the area of economic development, as well as employment creation. I think I started it out working in the area of microfinance and poverty reduction, just looking at our country really and saying what do we need to do to fix where we are, and also looking for challenges that are wide-reaching, and so access to finance and lack of access to finance is one of the areas that I thought we need to tackle. Because whether you look at the woman in a rural village in Kanu or in Bayelsa, a lot of people don't have access to finance. So that's one thing I'm working on currently, to see how we can promote access to finance for Nigerians. I think we'll speak more on that, so I will stop there at the
Thank you
moment.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Very lovely to have you. Hello, Nkem. Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Okay, so
Okay.
welcome to the conversation. So just real quick, can you take us through your journey so far and what has been the motivation for your brand, Mama Money? I hope I'm pronouncing it well. I feel like I'm not actually.
Yes, you are. It is Mama Money. Mama
Mama
Money. Use
Money,
this pidgin style.
okay,
Mama
okay,
Money.
all right, all right.
Okay. So, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Nkem Okocha. I'm the founder of Mama Money. The motivation for starting Mama Money is due to my personal experience. So I've shared my story on a lot of platforms. My mother is a widow. We lost our father quite early. And my mother was a full-time housewife, so she wasn't doing anything when my father died. So after the breadwinner, who is who used to be my father, died, it was quite difficult for us. So I until a family friend came and gave my mom some funds, which she used to start a small business, and that kind of helped us a little bit. So I know how it feels as a child. You wake up, you want some certain things that they ask from you in school. Your mother cannot give it to you. I'm like, why don't my mother have money? So I said to myself, when I grow up, I want to help women like my mother. So I finished university. I was opportunity to work in the bank for about 8 years. Resigned. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I started a small business, and in the morning when I'm going to the office, I see a lot of women sitting idle in the community I used to stay. That did not sit well with me. So I started conversing with them. Why are you not doing anything? No money to start business. I know get skill. So I just said, no, this cannot continue. I used my personal funds and I spoke to my pastor. I used our first our zonal center, and I did training, free vocational training for women. And the first training we did, we had over 70 women. Basically, that's how I started Mama Money. So out of empathy to help women like my mother in my community. So we started first with equipping them with vocational skills so that at least they have skills to help them generate income. Then gradually we introduced the lending to them, because for some of them they do not have the money to buy the materials to start what we had taught them on. So that was how I started Mama
Mm.
Money. Thank
Thanks
you.
so so much, Nkem. Very very powerful and inspiring story you've shared with us. I know I've seen a couple of posts about you, and I didn't know how very impactful it was. I think what you're doing is really amazing. I love when people
Thank you.
draw from their community, from their upbringing, and do things to challenge the status quo. Okay, so I'll just come to Oluwatomi, who unfortunately left the stage, but I'm adding her right back. Okay, before we continue with her, um, what does Mama Money entail in terms of day to day? So is it just skill acquisition, grants, or what exactly does it entail?
Okay, so what we do at Mama Money is we provide micro loans to low income female
Okay,
entrepreneurs. So women who typically cannot access funding from commercial banks because they are termed as high
mm,
risk. So market women, your normal woman, woman selling akara and selling pap, selling tomatoes in the on our local markets, in our streets, our communities, those kind of women will provide funding for them to grow their small businesses. Also, aside doing that, we do a lot of, for these women that we lend to, we do a lot of financial literacy training for
okay,
them. because in 2015 we innovated a toolkit to help them manage our small businesses. So we'll do financial literacy training for all our women, very key for us. Then recently we started creating agents in different communities. So we have only female only agents network in different communities across Nigeria. So for some women, they are more comfortable conversing with a woman, opening an account with a woman, conducting financial transaction with women. They trust them more. So it's like we have leaders, we have community leaders, market leaders. So women trust those women. So that's what we currently do. So for us, access to finance for low-income female entrepreneurs, financial literacy training for low-income female entrepreneurs, and female-only agent network across Nigeria.
Okay. Thanks so much, Nkem. We'll dive more into the educational aspect and other aspects that you've spoken about. But real quick, Oluwatomi, I want to know, in terms of EFINA and the work you do, how do you decide on who or what you fund from an enterprise perspective? Hi, Oluwatomi. Can you hear me? Hi, Oluwatomi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You asked how, but I didn't get the rest of the question.
Yes, I said how and who and what do you fund from an enterprise perspective in terms of your work with Athena and your personal goals?
Okay, so maybe I should just provide some background information as well. So,
Yes, please.
EFINA is a market sector development organization. Our flagship product is actually research and provision of credible market information. We there's a dearth of data really to support financial inclusion activities. Nkem knows about this. As much as the great work that she's doing, but there's need for data to really understand this market, to go beyond your community, to really stretch beyond that. You need to understand the market and also ensure that you have products that are suitable to their needs. So that's some of the work that we do. At EFINA, we also have an innovation fund. Although we don't have a cycle currently running, but what that innovation fund does is that it provides growth stage as well as early stage grants for financial service providers. Some of them will be commercial banks, mobile money operators, fintechs, to either scale up a current product or to test the product or technology. So that's what that's the grant that we have. But like I said, we don't have anyone currently running. But what we do and what we're known for is to support the market, support the regulators, support providers like Nkem, and also to provide financial literacy for Nigerians. Basically, I think one of the things that we're moving beyond now is not just talking about access to finance, but also looking at financial health. Yes, I think we probably will speak more on that later on.
Okay, right. Right off the bat, I think we can continue in terms of that because that's a very strong point that you've raised. We're no more in that place where everybody owns a phone at least right now, or maybe let me say 98% of the population, or maybe 80% as well, has access to internet and knows a couple of things, or access to a bank, for example. So I'll just ask you, and then maybe we can circle back to Nkem on the same question. So what are the most effective ways now that we can educate and inform, and then take it even a step further for customers and consumers about financial products and services in Nigeria and how they can even use them responsibly. Because, I mean, just to pull us back a bit, I don't know if anybody has been seeing the rounds. I've seen 2 videos already. I really don't know if it's related to this topic, but within yesterday and today, I've seen 2 videos of someone saying, oh, such and such amount of money was withdrawn from my account. I don't know how.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know who's speaking. Oluwatomi. Was that you?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm still asking the
Okay.
question. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't.
No
Yeah.
problem. I was saying that over the past like 2 days, I've seen like a couple of posts about people saying, "Oh, money was withdrawn from my account. I don't know how," or "Oh, this that happened." I saw a video of a woman in tears. Something happened to her money. So really, in terms of like this education of for like finance and these types of topics, what do you think and what are the most effective ways to educate consumers? Oluwatimi, you can go, and then Nkem, we can hear from you because I saw you unmuted yourself. Nkem, I believe you can go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So you asked, what did you say
I
again?
was asking what are the most effective ways to educate and inform consumers about financial products and services, as well as how to use them responsibly.
Okay, so for me, that video that you talked
Hmm.
about, I saw it yesterday. I saw it on Instagram, and it was
Mhm.
painful. And we've come across this kind of stories. Last year, we had
Um,
one of our
can
beneficiaries.
I can
Can
I
you hear
take
me?
that?
Yeah,
Hello?
I was asking you, but maybe once Nkem is done, we
Hi,
can
Nkem,
circle
is
back
that
to you. So,
you?
Tommy, can you hear me? Let's hear from Nkem and then we'll circle back to you. Please proceed, Nkem.
Okay, so we also had a case of one of our beneficiaries. So she is an old woman. I think she's almost
Mm.
60, and she came to us one day and she said all the funds in her account
Wow.
was wiped
Oh my
out
God.
from, so that she went to the branch manager. The branch manager was telling her that she should just trust God,
Mhm.
that God will deal with the person that stole it. So imagine, this is an old
Wow.
woman, and this woman, maybe I'll share, I'll tweet about her story later. This is a woman that lost two of her
Mm.
children, one about 50 years and the other almost 40, and those children were the
Wow.
breadwinners for her. So um, for me, I would say evangelism. So we need to, when it comes to driving awareness and education for this segment of people, we really need to do what I call evangelism. So we need to evangelize. So when I say evangelism, how do I mean? So meeting these people where they are, in communities that they trust. So for us, one of the things that has worked for us is that we go to their mosques, we go to their churches, we go to their village meetings, we introduce services to them in clusters. So clusters of people that they trust. So when we go into like churches, so one of the things that we do is that, let's say we go to a church, the church tells the members, maybe the women in that church, and they say, this organization called Mama Money is coming to tell us how maybe we can do better with our finance and everything. So that church, because they trust the church, when we come, the women listen to us. Then we'll now go a step further and invite the women. Either we invite them to come to our office, or to conduct these trainings physically, or we do that via their mobile phones. So we have, for us, we have trainings, we have bit-sized trainings that we've done for women on financial literacy, on business development, everything that has to do with their small business. So we've done this. So that's how we tackle this, because for this segment of people, if they do not trust you, they will never use your service. So we have had times where we go to the market. For some women, we are the first point of call when it comes to financial inclusion for them. But they've had previous interactions with banks. But these banks just come, they open this account and they go. They don't tell the women how to operate the
Right.
account, where to go and pay money. So the account just go dormant. So because these women, we've gone to their church, we've gone to their mosque, we've come to their market, we're able to talk to them. They now trust us. They now tell us, okay, Mama Money, we want open accounts now. How we go take open now? They will now bring their phone number, they now bring their password, they will now bring their NIN, because we've been able to break that barrier. So building their trust using communities that they trust. So that's how for me I think that we can tackle this issue now and meet more women.
Thank
Sorry, I keep saying women. Segment of people.
Thank you, Nkem. Yeah, I mean, the topic really is related to, the female gender, to women in particular, but I like that you generalized it. Thank you so much. Oluwatomi, please, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just to support what Nkem has said, I think it's very important that financial service providers, or just NGOs who are also providing financial service to low income individuals, use clear and transparent communication. So simple language. It's important that we provide the end result of financial literacy is really that you provide them with sufficient information that they are able to be empowered enough to make a responsible decision. So if you give them information that is not sufficient enough, you leave them more confused. They will never take the product or be able to use it in a way that is responsible. So we need to provide clear information, transparent information, plain information. I mean, how many banks do you know today that have, their products in other languages? A lot of people in the north can't speak English as a first language. So if all your offerings are in English, how do they use something that they don't know? How do they trust that? Because we know finance is about trust at the end of the day. So, and I think I want to go back to, Mama Money is big now, but like she said, this all started from what we'll call, self-help groups, putting those women in groups and helping them to, empower themselves. So just to say that those small groups are really, really very effective when it comes to driving financial literacy, because they already have the ears of the members, they trust themselves, they understand themselves, they know the needs, of the members. So they are a very useful tool in driving financial literacy. But again, like we said, this low income population, even we have a large youth population who are also part of that segment. So I still think technology can be used. Nowadays, anything you put on WhatsApp, or there's a video somewhere. So those things can also be used to build financial literacy among the youth population. Thank you.
Very true. Thank you so much, Oluwatomi. And while I still have you, you've spoken about financial literacy and even making use of technology. Are there other ways now the financial sector as a whole can expand access to financial services for underserved populations, low-income individuals, and small businesses, especially in the rural areas?
Yes. So I'm not sure how many persons on this call. I'm not sure how many persons are aware about what we call mobile money.
Mm,
But mobile money is basically an opportunity to use your mobile phone to access finance. So, contrary to saying you need to have a bank account, if you have a mobile money account, so you have your phone number, right?
mm.
As
But does
your
that
as
work in
your bank number.
Nigeria? Question. Does
Yes,
that
that works. That
really?
works
Oh,
in
wow.
Nigeria. I mean, more recently, and I'm more convinced about this, that this is the way to go. Although we still have some regulatory challenges, but more recently, when I get into a boat these days, they are all giving me their mobile phone number. It's an OPay
Oh,
account. So if you're using an OPay account,
interesting.
Yeah, or maybe a plumber comes into my house. They give me their number, so I know it's
Oh,
mobile
okay.
money. So those things, because there are some barriers to actually having a bank account, and those are some of the things we're trying to address. So, for instance, in Nigeria today, if you don't have a proof of address, you can't open a tier 2 or a tier 3
Yeah.
bank account, right? So you can't open a full service account. You have to open an account that has maybe certain limitations. So we're still working with the CBN to address that. But in the meantime, mobile money has come in to help people have access to formal accounts. And so, yes, mobile money is one way. Another thing is also agency banking. Um, I think I will leave that there, because yes, in other countries, agency banking, or what you call branchless banking, that's what people have used to really drive financial inclusion. In Kenya, when they started out, financial inclusion was less than 25%. Today, they have over 80% financial inclusion rate, and that's because of agent banking. But the way we've adopted it in Nigeria today
Yeah.
uh, has its own peculiarities. Because
So how does this agent banking work?
you know what I call agent banking? Your normal POS.
Oh,
In other countries, that will be someone who has some kind of functionalities to operate almost like a bank, so can
okay.
provide you account opening services, sometimes can provide you access to credit, access to insurance. You can submit forms, you can engage with your bank at your agent location. But the way we've adopted that in Nigeria now is we've seen proliferation of agents. They're just everywhere. They don't have the capacity to really deliver all of that, and so it's hindering our capacity to use them to drive financial inclusion. But yes, if we go back to what agency banking should be, we will be able to use to do that. So two things: mobile money, agency banking. But the third thing I'll mention is actually savings groups. I'm saying this because, I mean, based on the space I work in, I know currently that there are donor agencies, there are ministries that are currently pushing the central bank and some of the regulatory agencies to
Hi,
say
Tommy.
we
Can you
need to
hear me?
formalize. Yes, I can hear you. Did I drop off? Sorry, did I
Hello,
drop off?
Tommy. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Thank you for that, Tommy. Nkem, we'll just move over to you. And I mean, you've spoken about the great work that you do and very, very inspiring. Now, let's take it to sort of like the policy level now. How can government and private sector work together to improve the regulatory and policy environment for financial inclusion? Nkem, can you hear me? Hello, Nkem, can you hear me, please? Um, help.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello, Tommy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. Hi, Nkem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can now. Sorry, my
Hello, guys,
network.
can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
I
you
can
now.
hear you. Hello?
I can hear you, Nkem.
Okay. Sorry, what did you say again?
Can
Uh,
anybody hear me, please?
yes,
I
we can
can hear
hear
you
you.
now.
I think it's her network then.
Okay.
But Nkem, I think she was asking you to speak to how government and private
Okay,
sector.
okay. Hello, Nkem. I can't hear either you or Tommy. Um, the
Should
conversation
we
was
go
just
out
starting to
and
get very juicy, and then I think our speakers got a bit plugged off. Maybe you can both exit and then come back in. I'll add your speakers, and then we can continue the conversation. I mean, it's getting really, really interesting. But to our amazing audience, thanks for sticking through. If you have any questions or something you'd like to add to the conversation, now is the perfect time to come on stage and join this conversation. So far what we've seen is there's so many new ways of financial inclusion, especially for people the low income in the low income areas. Welcome back in Chem. So yeah, I think I was directing the question to you before we got cut off for a bit. So I was asking, in terms of like at the policy level, what can government and private sector, how can they work together to improve the regulatory and policy environment for financial inclusion?
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so for me, I would say the government needs to work closely with the private sector by creating policies that will favor innovation, um, make entry barriers very, very easy to navigate. So let me explain. So for me, one of the challenges I have this passion. I go into communities to create awareness for women to be financially included. We've churned out different services for financial inclusion. I'm very, very passionate. Then when it comes to getting, there are some licenses that we want to get. The funds, the money that CBN is calling for small players like us is too big. So for entrepreneurs, fintech entrepreneurs that have not been able to raise funds, what we now do is we do partnership with other financial service providers. And when you do this, you are splitting income. There are times that you do not have autonomy over the kind of services because you've studied the market, you've studied your women. There are some things that there's a way you want to create your product or your service, but you cannot do this because you are working in partnership with maybe either you are working with another financial service provider. So making it easy for, will I say, small fintech players like us to get licenses. So sometimes these licenses, the kind of money that they are calling, it's so big. And there, like now, there's this solution that we were trying. Another thing is that there's this solution that we were trying to introduce, and we were told that CBN does not allow that kind of payment service in Nigeria. So if we really want to tackle financial exclusion and improve on financial inclusion, we really need to look at what other people are doing out there. So like in I know what helped China is that they really helped small players. So players like myself, they just gave them access. So they gave them access by just giving them licenses that do not require too much money to go help these low income entrepreneurs, low income segment of people access funding, create bank account, do a lot of things. So for me, I think the private sector, the government, we just need to work together to see how we can strike a balance.
Thank you, Inkem. So basically, what I'm hearing is some of the barriers in the market are just too crazy for smaller players like yourself and other people who might be doing similar work to even function and do the work that they want to do in terms of even you and Mama Money. And I mean, it's all goodwill, it's all good work and impact driven. Okay, so I think Oluwatomi, do you have any diverse opinion? Do you have anything to add in terms of this question?
Yeah, thank you. I think to add to what Nkem has said, in addition to reducing the barriers for players, kind of innovative players, the government should also look at the regulatory requirements for accessing financial services. Like I mentioned earlier on, proof of ID is an issue. There are some countries, I mean, where we have some innovative players who have come into the space to help you, rather than ask that you have like a water bill or a light bill. I mean, they are able to track your house because of mobile phone usage, right? So that can be an innovative way of providing your proof of address. There's some countries where you can now use your retina um, as ID, So if I don't know how many of us have a BVN, you know what it took you to do your BVN. So you had to do all your fingers, and even those machines, really, you can't find them in rural areas. So there's, I mean, you can imagine a farmer who has worked in the north all his life. Sometimes his thumbprints, you can't even, they can't even work on those machines. So we need to look for more innovative ways to address the KYC challenges, to improve access, but then also regulatory sandboxes. Kim was speaking to some products that she wanted to launch, and somehow CBN doesn't have the space for that. A sandbox will actually allow for players like herself to test a range of products, in a very controlled environment, to see what works. And if it then works, you can then tweak your system to say, because this is for the interest of the public, we can roll that out. So I think regulatory sandboxes, kind of addressing KYC barriers, but then also intentionally making and creating enabling policies that will drive inclusion for underserved groups. So you can have policies that are favorable to women, to the poor, to rural communities, to northern Nigeria, to the youth. So policies that are intentionally designed to serve. Also looking at agribusinesses, MSMEs. So those kind of policies can drive inclusion as well for people in those spaces. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oluwatomi, as well as Nkem. I think you both shared some really key points in terms of like a policy perspective, as well as even like having new innovation. I think in terms of data collection, there needs to be a complete overhaul in our country, in our dear country, because I find that in so many different discussions and conversations, data collection is something that always is an issue. Okay, so in terms of innovation now, I think either you, Inkem, or Oluwatomi can take this question, but what is the future of the digital economy and financial inclusion? Maybe Inkem, you can take it, and then Tomi, we can proceed with you. Hello, ladies. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Oluwatomi, you can please go ahead.
Okay. I think you're asking about the future of digital economy and financial inclusion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we expect to see continued growth in digital finance, as more and more people across Nigeria gain more access to mobile phones and the internet. Digital finance is expected to continue to grow. The use of mobile money, particularly digital payments. In our research with on the demand side, we continuously hear people say they want speed, they want ease of access, they want convenience, and digital financial services offers you all of that. You can, at in less than a minute, transfer money to your mom who is in the village, or your sibling, or so DFS is here to stay. We would also see an increase in fintech innovation across the financial landscape. So we've seen a lot of we've seen a lot of innovation in terms of payments, but then I think we'll see more innovation in terms of insurance, pension, health financing. So people who are really pulling out finance for to create value in the real sector. So what can finance do for me? How can it improve my life beyond just saying it can help me pay or it can help me have a bank account? But how can it really touch my life? So education finance. So we will see more innovation in that space. We also see a lot of innovation around people who are trying to pull data for improved decision making. A lot of us are on different apps. It will interest you to know that there are a lot of back work going on to see what your interests are, so that providers can better serve you based on what your preferences are. So trying to understand consumer needs basically would also drive all of that. But I'm also hoping that in all of this, we would also see greater consumer protection, because fraud, in this space
Exactly.
is an issue, and particularly amongst the unbanked, because like we've said earlier on, a lot of them are not really financially literate in a way that they can really make good decisions. And so fraud is prevalent. But I know that the CBN is also encouraging providers to really, really tackle down on financial literacy and fraud protection. So I think we would see all of that in going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Oluwatomi. Nkem, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so to add to what she has said, for me, just like she has said, we would see more innovations. So I know we're going to see more innovations um, being churned out with AI, artificial intelligence. So I know um, almost everybody now know of this platform called Chat GPT. So we are going to see a lot of innovation when it comes to artificial intelligence, how we can leverage artificial intelligence to churn out innovative services. And just like she also said, data. So how do we mine data? So for us at Mama Money, we come across different data. So how do we use this data to create innovative services that this underserved populace or target audience can
Hi, Nkem. We lost you. Uh-oh. Okay, just so that we lost you for a quick second.
Yeah, sorry. A call came in. So a lot of innovation when
Problem.
it comes to digital financial services. Mobile money has been here, so I want to see more. I expect to see more. So because for mobile money, it has been on since 2011 because the early players were e-transact, that's the pocket money. Then you have Paga. All these people have been there. So, but I want to see, we would see more innovations that should come up, leveraging so USSD
Mm,
for the underserved that we serve. So for like some of the women, I keep using women because I work with women. I'm very sorry. So a combination of technology, so hybrid, because to serve these people for now, so hybrid innovation. So innovation that some you leverage technology, some has to be face to face if we really want to drive financial inclusion. So that is it for me.
okay. Thanks so much, Nkem. I really like the points that you've shared as well. So just to bring the conversation to a nice little halt, I want to hear from you as well as Oluwatomi on, I mean, especially you with Mama Money. What are some women facing development initiatives and projects for this year that women can tap into?
Hmm. So plenty. If I use
I
pidgin, they
like
are
that.
very, very plenty.
Yeah.
Access to finance is still a very, 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 very big issue. So for players that want to come into this sector, see, for the kind of work that we do, everybody knows what is happening in Nigeria. So you find out that you work with this particular woman, she's getting better, finance is going up, then the economy hits her. She goes back again like to square one. You give her 50,000 naira to maybe buy a basket of tomatoes. She goes to the market, she buys it for maybe 40,000, buys pepper, onion and everything for 5,000. She uses 5,000 for transportation. She comes to sell, she's going back again, the price has gone up. That is what is happening currently now. So, and a lot of women are still being excluded.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So
please go ahead. You said a lot of women.
a lot of women are being exploited. So if you go into our market now, you see that there are plenty, what do they call them? These loan apps. Go in the
Uh-oh.
market. Oh,
Yes,
hello,
please
can you
go
hear
ahead.
me?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, they just go into the market. There's no financial literacy. They are not teaching the women how to use their product. They are not telling the women the what is it called, interest rate, and they are exploiting these women. And you see these women, they just take from here, they take from there, they take from there, and they're in deep wahala. So access to finance is very, very key. There are a lot of women that are being excluded. If you know the way our line rings every day, everybody wants to collect money. Women, there are plenty. So access to finance is one thing that we need to. So if you're a woman, or maybe you are someone, you are looking for problem to solve, there are a lot of women out there that need funding. Then she spoke about insurance. So there are some products that we are also trying to churn out. So insurance, a lot of women, they don't have access. So their insurance is agbo. You understand me? You know agbo, that's our local herbs. They don't
Oh.
have access to good health care. So even if you just pay 500 naira or paying 2,000 naira a year, so if you know you can create services that will provide this, you can create a product that will provide these services for women, please go ahead and do that. Then also pension. There are a lot of pension. You can create pension product. Capacity building, it's very, very key. So if you see why we are very keen on financial literacy and business, we do financial literacy and business development. And when you read my bio, you will see that we created Shisabi. So Shisabi, we created Shisabi because we were getting a lot of calls from women across Nigeria, other parts of Africa, telling us that they seen the work that we do, but they want to participate in the training, but they cannot come because of transportation and everything. That's why we created
Wow.
Shisabi. So Shisabi helps them to learn a skill with their mobile phone in the comfort of their houses. They can learn. They just need access to data. They can learn vocational skills. They can learn financial literacy skills. They can learn business development skills on Shisabi. So capacity building, for capacity building, if you could create solutions, because sometimes there are products and services that these women can use to improve their lives, but they don't even know how to go about it. So, and sometimes they just need you to just help them, teach them maybe how to register their businesses, teach them how to maybe just register their business and have access to TIN. So those small small things. So capacity building programs, if you can do that, there are a whole lot that we can do for women. There's, see, in every sector, when it comes to what's it called, another sector that I think people should go to is the agri value chain.
Okay.
So last year we had some people reach out to us. They said, Mama Money, you have access to a lot of women, so let us help. We bring tomatoes from the north, Jos, and we give it to your women in Lagos, so they do not have to go to mile 12 and start. Most of them, when they are going in the morning, robbers attack them and everything. So we thought this is a good idea. But do you know that bringing the tomatoes from Jos, there are times the driver will tell you that, Madam, the bus don't spoil, we no fit move. There are times they have to sleep due to insecurity. So you
Wow.
find out that there are a lot of things. So how do
Mhm.
we how do I say it now? So how do we preserve all these foods that are going to waste? Because if you see now, over there in the north, is very cheap, it's getting spoiled, but in Lagos here, we are crying that the cost of food is too much. So who is going
Exactly.
to provide services that will tackle this issue for us? We should not be hungry in Nigeria. Food
Mm.
should not be cost, because we have it. We have garri, we have different things. So who is going to help us? So you see, when you go to our markets now, you see there's mango season. Then you go, who is going to take that excesses, that one that is getting spoiled, and turn it into fruit juice or something, so that we do not have to just, it's money that is being lost here. So
Uh,
this kind of creating innovations around the agri value chain. So transportation, I know we have a lot of challenges when it comes to maybe insecurity and the road network, but if we can help with all these things, you can help create solutions and also make money. So for me, that agri value chain, when it comes to transportation, then preservation, because a lot of food going to waste, why we need more food in Nigeria. Then access to finance is very key. We have plenty women, not only women, plenty men that are doing good businesses. Most of these women, they do good businesses, but they don't have somebody to give them money. Then pension, let our mothers, let our fathers not use our children as pension. So they are waiting until their children get to university and start working. And sometimes most of the children of the people living in poverty, some of them, the cycle of poverty still comes back, so the child is not even able to help them. So how do we create like a pensions, a small product? I don't know how you are going to do it. You have to think about that, that can help these women, even if it's saving 5,000 naira a year, or saving 10,000 naira a year, or 100 naira a day, so that when they are 55, when they are 60, they
uh,
have something that they can fall back on.
uh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nkem. That was so well articulated, and I really like that it speaks very much to the grassroots level and even these low income women. Oluwatomi, is there anything you'd like to add as we round up?
If I can just add to what Kim has said, so just where she stopped around, if you can help these people, I know a lot of us here will be thinking, how can you do that? But like I mentioned earlier on, so I mean, in Nigeria, as at 2020, at least 1 in 3 women belonged to a savings group or an informal group. Um, so don't think too far. You have friends where you do a job together.
Mm.
You have, whether it's school groups together, whatever it is, you have a group of a community, whether it's 5 or 10. Start with that. Um, Start to manage your finances together. Pool resources. Lend to one person, lend to another person. But then the interesting thing is to digitize and document all of that, because in this space, I promise you, in the next 1 to 2 years, self-help groups, savings groups, cooperatives will become, there's a lot of um, effort to try to formalize them. In other words, they will become integrated into the formal institution. Imagine if your cooperative in another year or two becomes a partner with a bank or a partner with a fintech to provide services to some community. So those are the things that we should start to do. Second thing is, we have people around us. Encourage them. Let's be advocates of financial inclusion. Your house help, your gardener, your driver. Don't just pay them cash. Encourage them to have, whether it's a mobile money account or whatever it is. I just encourage them to have a formal account That's also where it begins. And lastly, I also want to say that in terms of investment for women in 2023, I think the biggest thing we can do is to invest in ourselves. So as women, invest in yourself in 2023, and because that's what's going to help you to take advantage of all of these opportunities. I'm aware that there's an agricultural development fund that the act has been passed, that's about to kick off. Smedan is about to set up a microfinance bank. There's the youth fund. So there's a lot of funds that would come up to, but you want to be prepared and you want to be ready when all of these funds come up. So invest in yourself, invest in your community, formalize and digitize whatever you're doing so that you have the records to show your capacity when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, Oluwatomi, as well as Nkem. This conversation is so insightful, and I love that you both are such experts in your field. I even feel like a lot of the points you've shared here today are not only good for low income and the underserved population, but also for, because I've learned so much. I didn't know about the agricultural fund, and I've learned so much. Even the mobile money and the agent. I've learned so much today, and it has been so awesome. Thank you so much, Nkem, as well as Oluwatomi, for being a part of our last episode for this first half of 2023 for HerVersations. We really appreciate you. And to everyone who joined in, this audio recording will be available on our BellaNaija Style YouTube channel, so you'd have access to listen to it whenever you want, and to gain a lot of the insights, to re-listen to all of the insights that Nkem and Oluwatomi have shared with us. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate, as we go into 2023, the goal is financial freedom, financial literacy, and even educate yourself. I feel like I've learned so much today that I can even educate, even if it's my local gate man, or my local tailor, or somebody next to me, with some of the insights I've heard today. Thank you so much, Nkem and Oluwatomi.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And don't forget to check our YouTube channel for the rest of this week to see all of the content from our HerVersation series. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.